Earlier this year, the New Policy Institute published a report called Redefining Neighbourhoods, a future beyond austerity. Its focus is neighbourhood services, the area of local government hardest hit by budget cuts over the past 6 years.
The key finding really is the recognition that what's gone on here is that something that we took for granted for many decades, since before the Second World War, was that our local government was funded from a mixture of local taxpayers and money through the general taxpayer, which was then redistributed to local government across England. Over the last 6 years, the mechanism for doing that has very largely been dismantled. What we think is coming down the track is that if you're an area like this, and we're sitting here in the inner east of London, a very deprived area, but also an area with a substantial number of offices and businesses. So perhaps this area will be all right, but there'll be plenty of areas which either have high need or perhaps even average need with low local taxes that will really be in difficulties, and kind of these areas know who they are.
The borough of Barking and Dagenham in East London is no stranger to the financial stress associated with local authority cuts. But Councillor Darren Rodwell is passionately committed to retaining a sense of neighbourhood in his area.
People want a nice, safe place to live, they want good neighbours to get on with, and they want a home for life. How they have that home is down to them.
While Barking and Dagenham has some of the lowest average house prices in the whole of London, that doesn't mean that the housing market is not under pressure. The local population is diverse, and like everywhere else in London, it would seem, young people and families can struggle to find homes to buy or to rent that are affordable to them.
We need to get back to a place where we understand that London, this great global city, is not just for one type of person. It isn't just for the haves, it's for the have-nots. It's for the people that actually make London breathe. And that's what we're trying to do in Barking and Dagenham. So we're looking at making sure that when we build stock, the stock is for every type of Londoner. And we need to say to people, you don't have to own your own home, you can rent and be secure. Then we have something called the right to invest. And the right to invest is where you do have that aspiration where you can't afford the whole property, and you can buy as little as 25% or up to 70% of your council property, or you can go into the wider shared ownership model, and that's actually you can buy up to all of it. Finally, there's also something where people need the right to move, and we're looking at that now, because for us to build a property in this borough today, it costs us $225,000. We're finding a way of re-energising the system that works for everyone. It's got to be led by the community, facilitated for by the council, and invested in by our partners, whether that be public or private sector.
While such innovative approaches can help mitigate the effects of budget cuts, how do we go beyond localism to make sure funding is a national issue, with a national solution that can be fine-tuned according to local need?
Local government has found itself in England in a very difficult position. On the one hand, it's done in many ways an extraordinarily good job of cutting its services, rearranging its services, finding economies, finding new ways to deliver services. On the other hand, it has particularly in deprived areas, really been forced almost to take the heart out of what it's doing. And there's a need to get local government saying, we've reached a limit, and saying it collectively, we've reached the limit, and we need once more to look at the way in which central government can support in a fair and objective way what goes on in our local neighbourhoods.
In the second part of our investigation into neighbourhood services, we went to Greater Manchester to see how innovative ways of thinking are ensuring environment and leisure services are not just surviving, but are thriving. Councillor Neil Emmett believes the visual appearance of the area is paramount.
I think it's important to try and attract investment and people to come to our towns, and I say towns because there's Rochdale, Haywood and Middleton, and it's important that they look good.
The borough will have suffered £200 million worth of cuts by the end of 2017, but notwithstanding that, the council's recognised the importance of infrastructure and public realm, and it's invested £2 million in highways, another £1.5 million into the environment. That includes some of the things you can see in this park, lots and lots of planting projects that we're putting in. They're also involving the community. We've got Rochdale in Bloom that has really engaged with lots and lots of community groups and businesses.
We've started the clean and green teams that go around tidying up grot spots that local members of the public report into us. We've invested so that we've now got an extra 100 allotments across the borough. We've put in an extra 150 litter bins across the borough, and we're clamping down very heavily on people who are engaged in illegal fly tipping.
The council is very good at identifying additional resources, so we have unallocated capital receipts where we may have sold off buildings. That's earmarked to spend on high-value projects like the town centre.
Another area where Rochdale Borough Council has made both environmental improvements and cost savings is in their recycling performance.
We needed to do something differently, and we very quickly established that recycling was the way we were going to do that. And the reason for that is that when we send our waste across the weighbridge to be disposed of, we're charged a fee. Now, if we send it over as recyclate, we're actually given a rebate of £25 a tonne roughly. But when we put our brown waste, our food and garden waste, we charge about £56. But when we send our rubbish, our non-recyclable waste, they charge us over £300. So you can see there's a big difference there. So we needed to persuade people to take their waste, separate it and recycle as much as they can.
30 minutes down the road from Rochdale in Tameside, the council has also addressed the challenge of budget cuts with some creative approaches to their leisure services.
With austerity coming in towards 2010, councils needed to revisit really how they could fund their local leisure services. So that was one of the challenges. And one of the other challenges were the rising demand in health and social care, because although people are living longer, people are experiencing more long-term health conditions, which is a cost to the health and social care system. So some of the surplus that this facility creates goes into subsidising more of our outreach activity in the community to really address health inequalities and target those people that really need our help.
We want to maintain people that are already active. Keeping them active is really important to us. What we've done really well over the past few years is we've been able to go out into communities, and we've been able to work and have meaningful interactions with people to allow them to both get into activity, but also to look at supporting them into employment, supporting families to live healthier together. So we've really broadened out what we do, and people understand who we are and want to be part of our journey as well.
Another Tameside Council leisure facility is iTrain, a budget gym, open 24/7 with a fee of only £18 a month.
We developed a business model whereby the costs of refurbishing this old swimming pool stacked up against the revenue that we could generate. And obviously we do generate a surplus amount which pays off the borrowing, but also enables us to invest in things like the creche facility. It's all automated, so there's a fingerprint entry system, there's no receptionist, people can join on the door using a kiosk. People generally want to pay less for a gym membership, but whilst doing so they also want great quality and a great experience.